Hey y'all, Stephanie here with Minimalist Mom Life. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a video that I've been talking about for a while and I'm finally going to do it, and that is a video on how we budget. So again, one of my favorite topics, and as you saw in the title, we are Dave Ramsey-Ish in how we budget, so I am going to go through just a few of the things that he usually covers, and I am going to talk about kind of our take on them and how we do them for our family. Little disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, and your family is different than my family, so every family is going to have to make their own priorities and have their own budget and look at what is right for them. But I get asked a lot about how we do it, so I'm just going to share with you how we do it. And I hope I don't talk too fast, but I'm going to try and go pretty quickly through this before the baby wakes up. So the number one is a zero-based budget. So Dave Ramsey recommends that you spend every dollar on paper before the month even begins, so that you're telling your money where to go and not wondering where it went. And I absolutely 1000% agree with that. So I have said this before in another video, but in the middle of one month, I'm going to go ahead and be planning the budget for the next month. And that way I have a week or two to go over with my husband and to really make sure I have thought through what expenses we're really going to need that month and what we're going to want to be putting where, kind of what our priorities are that month, and even our goals for that year. So it is the middle of July now when I'm filming this, and I already have the budget done for August. My husband and I have already gone over it, but because August hasn't started yet, if anything changes, I can just go to the budget and do a quick change, and it will still be a good zero-based budget. So that leads me to my next one. What are our budgeting categories? And this is something people always want to know. So we are on baby step number 6 in Dave Ramsey's baby step plan, and I will link his website in the description box. So if you're unfamiliar with Dave Ramsey, you can get familiar because he is awesome and fantastic, and I'm like one of his biggest fans. But basically, baby step number 6 is you are debt-free other than your home, and you're working to pay off your home while saving for kids' college if you have it, and also funding 15% of your income into retirement. And so that is what we are currently doing. So being on baby step number 6, our budget is pretty simple since there aren't a lot of like extra bills. There's not credit cards and stuff like that. Obviously we have like our house, our water, trash, sewer, all those types of things. The categories that we have that fluctuate quite a bit are our house budget, which I've mentioned before, which is what covers like laundry detergent, minor house repairs, candles, all that kind of stuff. So every month we set a certain amount of money for that when we're looking at like, are we doing anything to the house that month? It's usually pretty small. We haven't done a lot to our house. We're not big DIYers anyway. But one month, like my husband did build shelves in his office, and so it was like $100 more than it normally is, or we always have some wiggle room there because you can't really plan for if like a sprinkler head's going to go out in your front yard, or you know, you have to buy mouse traps or bug spray or something like that. Like, so we do have a certain amount in there that, you know, we don't know exactly where it's going to go, but we know that we need something there, and if we don't spend it, then we're going to put whatever is left into our savings accounts, and I'll get to how we do our savings accounts in the next question. We have a kids amount every month, and that covers, I have 2 in diapers now, since Lucy's in diapers, but we'll be probably training Elliot soon, because he turns 2 next month. So that is usually around $150 a month. That goes up on months that I know like I'm going to be paying to put the boys in a sport, or they're having a birthday party that month, and it's going to go up because we're going to pay to give them a little birthday party. I mentioned before we usually keep their parties around $60 or less. But that covers, that $150 covers like diapers. It covers any clothes that they might need that month. I do a lot of like preschool at home with them, so it covers all the supplies for that. I just ordered my oldest son a book off of Amazon, like How to Teach a Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons or less, something like that, and it was like $7. And so that's going to come out of that category. But again, that's when we look at every month, like what do we already have? How many diapers do we have from this last month that weren't used? So how many do we really need to buy? Maybe it's going to be less, maybe it's going to be a lot more. I just gave birth to Lucy 2 weeks ago, and so there were a lot of expenses the last 9 months of pregnancy that we had. So when those things are planned but not the general, then we also have to have a category for that, and so we would just label it pregnancy this last 9 months, and we would put whatever we knew we needed to pay the midwife that month, or like I had to have a RoGam shot, different things like that that we had to pay out of pocket for, then we would have that amount there. So that's how we do the kids, and that's how we did like pregnancy. Then we have a date night budget every month, and that even fluctuates a little bit because some months we'll say let's do a cheap date night and just like go play tennis and like, you know, grab something quick or not even go out to eat. Let's just go play tennis and that's free. Some months we're going to do dinner and we're going to be paying for a babysitter. Some months we're exchanging babysitting with friends of ours where we watch their kids one night, they watch our kids the next night, we just get a date without having to pay for babysitting. So we just look at that when we're making our date night budget. My husband and I each get $50 a month that goes towards our what we call fun money. I use mine on like hair stuff, makeup, haircuts, clothes, stuff like that. My husband uses his own books for the most part, but it's money that we can spend on whatever we want. My gym membership also comes out of my $50 a month. So my gym membership is $10 a month to Planet Fitness. What other categories we have? I'm going through these kind of quickly because they're pretty simple. And then our grocery budget fluctuates some. If I know that we're going to be hosting a lot, then I'm going to beef it up a little bit. If I know that we're not, then right now our grocery budget is usually about $400 a month for our family. But obviously that'll keep increasing as our boys get older and as Lucy gets older too. I can only imagine the teenage years with my 3 boys because they already eat a ton. And then we have our savings accounts that we save for every month. And so my husband gets retirement taken out of his check at work, but on top of that we put money into a Roth IRA. So we have that amount, and that pretty much stays the same every month unless we really needed to change it. But we take that amount out every month. We have our tithe, and we give to 2 charities. And then we also leave a little leeway in what we budget for giving, because stuff is always going to come up where, you know, the church is asking people to donate a certain item, or you need to bring something to something. And so for church, or somebody's, you know, just had a baby and you're bringing them a meal, or just whatever it is, you have a little extra money to be able to give. And then obviously if God called us to give more, we would, but we know that there's probably going to each month be something, so we leave some little wiggle room there in our giving budget as well. On top of like our tithe of 10%, we do believe in that. And then we have our savings amount, and that amount is what definitely fluctuates. So the way we do our savings, which is the next question, is we have set aside our 6-month emergency fund. We have set aside an amount of money. We have older used cars, so we know they're going to need repairs and replaced in a few years. So we have set aside money to replace our vehicles and or do repairs. So obviously if we had to take money out of it to do a repair, then it wouldn't be fully funded to replace the car, so we would need to beef it back up. But as it stands, we can do that, so we set that aside. Then we have our fund for then we have our trip/other fund, and what we do there is whatever is left in savings, once we have put everything else into categories in our monthly budget, we put it over into our trip/other fund, and that is like how we're saving for our mission trip next summer. And that's also where if something was to happen to the house, it's not like catastrophic, like not an emergency, but just something that we needed to do to the house, or you know, a medical bill or something, that we can take from that fund. So we're always looking to kind of beef that one up. We are not sinking fund people like Dave Ramsey recommends, maybe where like you have lots of subcategories of that. It's just a very general, like this is our savings that we can use if we need to, and then if we're not using it on other things, then obviously we're going to use it for travel, because traveling is like our favorite thing. And that's also where we just put the $50 a month that my husband and I save towards us taking a trip together each year. We just put that over in that fund, and then we know what it's for. I keep that all in one account when it comes to how our savings works, because I don't want to have a whole bunch of different account numbers. But in my Excel spreadsheet, when I go to do the budget, I have it in subcategories where I know how much is in each account. And because we're not touching the emergency fund, and we're not touching even the car fund right away, we always go to the general/trip fund first. Those typically just stay the same. And then we have like our retirements accounts, our adoptions accounts, I think I already touched on that, set aside in different accounts, and our college funds and all that are their own accounts. So they're not savings accounts that we're doing every single month. That is stuff that we would look at doing every year, except for our retirement, which we add to every month. So that's how we do our savings. We, again, don't do sinking funds for like Christmas. I don't do it for like back to school kids clothes, stuff like that. I try to keep everything happening within the monthly budget. We don't make a ton of money. It definitely don't make a ton of money. But I still want to just stay frugal and use what we're getting in each month, and really leave those savings accounts alone, other than when it comes time to write that big check to buy airline tickets or something like that. So that is how we do our savings accounts. Our unexpected income. So if we get income, like my husband's, I said it fluctuates a little bit, his income, so if it goes up a little bit that month or he got overtime or whatever, we're just going to chunk that right into savings. If you hear noise in the backyard, my kids are with my husband. They're fine. And if we have unexpected expenses, like I said, we would go to that amount that we were going to put in savings first, and we would use that up before we would ever want to touch any of our savings accounts. And so that is how we take Dave Ramsey's principles and kind of apply them to our personal family and how it has worked for us for the past, 5 years, but I've been doing it since I was like 19. So almost 10 years. I'll be 29 this year. Oh, that's crazy. So that is how it works for us. If you are new to Dave Ramsey or you want to know more about him, I will leave his website linked down below. He is awesome and fantastic. His principles are very basic, very common sense. I love him. I'm just like the biggest fan. I actually got to meet him this year, and that was a part of my bucket list, and it was awesome. And my husband likes his principles but thinks I'm a little crazy. But I'll leave him linked down below. And if you have any suggestions on how you budget or any more questions for me, leave them in the comments or shoot me a message. I would love to talk to you guys about this more. And with that, I'm going to end the video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.